All right, welcome to lesson number 5. This time we are going to be solving inequalities using technology. All right, so last lesson we looked at how to solve these inequalities without using a graphing calculator. This time we get to use our graphing calculators. All right, so let's go through and just read this process. So using the following procedure, graph the solution region to a two-variable inequality with a TI-84 graphing calculator. So the first thing we want to do is, if it's necessary, we want to rearrange our inequalities. So if we were given an equation that is set up like, let's say I had an equation that was 3x plus y is equal to 1, or something like that. If necessary, I want to rearrange the inequality by isolating y to the left side so that my boundary line, or my equation that I'm going to make, is in the form of y is equal to mx plus b. So I would want to bring my 3x over here, which would leave me with y is equal to negative 3x plus 1. So that would be our first step. The second step is to input that into our calculators. So y is equal to negative 3x plus 1. The next thing I would want to do is, to the left of y1, select a shading which corresponds to the inequality symbol by pressing the enter key continuously until the desired symbols appears. So use the following inequality symbols for y is greater than mx plus b. So if y is greater than mx plus b, greater than or equal to, then this is what I would move my cursor over. I'm just using my arrow button here. I'd move my cursor arrow over to the very edge, so you see where that's blinking, and I would press this. If I want y to be greater, then I'd press it until I get a solid black triangle like that's blinking, and then I would move back over here and press graph. And here you'll see that it shades the region where our solutions lie. Okay? But if I wanted y to be less than that equation, then I would choose the triangle that is on the bottom like this. So blinking bottom triangle. And what that should do, or what that will do, is shade the region underneath of y, where y is less than my equation, my inequality. All right, so I still have my boundary line graphed here, but where the solution lies is going to be blocked in like that. Okay, so let's try this question here. Our graphing calculator does not distinguish between greater than and greater than or equal to, or the opposite, greater than or less than, equal to or less than. And it also, so our broken or solid boundary lines. When sketching a graph from the graphing calculator window on your own grid, use the inappropriate type of boundary line. And so what that means is, if you know that you're using this symbol here, then that means we have to have a dotted boundary line, right? We only have the solid boundary line if we have one of these inequalities. All right, so if we're solving the inequality x minus 3 is greater than, or x minus y is greater than 3, we have to begin by rearranging. Okay, so the first thing I would do is bring the x to the other side, which would leave me with negative y is greater than negative x plus 3. Then I would have to divide by negative 1, and that would give me x minus 3. So let's input that boundary line into our graphs. All right, so I'm left with x minus 3. Press the enter key to the left of y1 until the symbol representing less than appears. And so that means I want the triangle that will be down like this. Okay, so that's what you should have in your calculator right now. And then you'll press graph, and you see that the shaded region is where your coordinates are going to be appearing. All right, so this is what you should have had in your graph. And it's simple as that. Now let's try the question that we're given here. Hold on a second. Here we go. So on your own grid, sketch the solution region to the inequality with a broken boundary line to represent less than. And that is, so we had something that looks exactly like this right here. But what we did was we made that a broken line because it's y, or x minus y, was less than 3. All right, so it has to be the broken line. All right, let's try these two cases down here. So graph the solution region to the following inequalities on a graphing calculator, and then sketch the solution region on the graph provided. Label the x and y intercepts on the grid. So first thing we need to do is rearrange this equation. So it's in the form of y equals mx plus b. All right, once we do that, we're going to be left with 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 12. Divide by 3, we'll have negative 2x, 2/3 x plus 4. All right, so let's graph this. All right, so it should look something like that. And we're working with y is less than. And so y is less than, and not equal to, but just less than. And so what we have to do is have the triangle on the bottom like that. And so our line should look something like this. Right, and then you would just draw this here and then shade the region where your coordinates lie. All right, my next graph is y is greater than or equal to 2x. Oh, and one thing I didn't do, this should be a dotted line. All right, so that was my bad. That should be a dotted line, not a solid line. This next one will be a solid line because I have the equal. Y is greater than or equal to. So 2x squared minus x minus 15. And since it's y is greater than or equal to, I want the triangle that is going to be on the top, like that. And so I have an inequality that will go all the way down to minus 15. And I shade inside. And we have a solid line because it's greater than or equal to. All right, so that's what your graphs should look like. And we could zoom out a bit to get a better picture here. There we go. So that's what we have graphed in our picture. All right, so that's it. That's graphing inequalities using a graphing calculator.